Hello, Project Runway fans. I'm Gold Derby editor Daniel Montgomery here with my fellow editor Susan Wloszczyna, and we are recording this the day after Sleigh the Runway, the season's Unconventional Materials Challenge. The designers had to make cocktail dresses out of holiday decorations, basically Kristen Siriano broke into their penthouse, decorated with trees and ornaments and garlands, though not just Christmas decorations, because there were a lot of there was a lot of also Hanukkah kind of paraphernalia around as well, though it ended up being mostly Christmas decorations. So let's get right onto that elimination. Alan Gonzalez, who I loved, was sent home for an outfit the judges thought looked more like Burning Man than Holiday Party. I didn't think it was a great look, but I didn't think it was the worst look, and I thought it had really great aspects, and he should not have been sent home for that. What did you think, Susan?
The bottom was okay, but no woman wants to have peekaboo boobs if that's not her intention, and I think he took so much crap and tried to do something with it and did nothing with it. It just didn't work out for him. And then his, trying to use those boots in some way, trying to make up for it, it just didn't go together at all. They were clunky and heavy, and the dress was barely there. So it was a real mismatch, I think, in accessorizing. But yeah. I'll miss him too. He has a way with words, that's for sure. And, or as they say in the after show, Alan-tude.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss the Alan-tude so much. This is exactly what happened last season with COVID, who was so much fun just in the workroom, and he was eliminated so early. Although COVID made it a few more weeks than Alan did. I as much as I love Alan's personality, I do think that his look was poor enough to be in the bottom three, but I don't think it was poor enough to go home. Like you said, the skirt I thought worked. And not just worked, I thought it was really great the way he used the silver leaf on the skirt. Yeah. And if he had only connected it to the top in some way, instead of just making it this ribbony, leafy bra, basically, that he put on top, if it had just been connected into like a full dress instead of just that sort of, weird ribbon bikini and the skirt, he would have been not just not eliminated, but safe. Like, he could have just taped some of those leaves onto just muslin and wrap it around the middle, and boom, you're safe. I do think he was sent home partly because this was his second time in the bottom three after the season premiere, and because he got so much material, and he admitted, I had basically the most material of any designer, but I couldn't figure out what to do with it, and that was kind of damning.
Yeah. I found it interesting. It was obviously not Christmas time in New York. But they just don't care. I think it's funny when reality shows, kind of try to get away with doing their holiday, related shows. And it's obviously not that time of year, but that's fine. It's reality, but it's a, elevated reality.
Yes, we taped this in August. Merry Christmas.
Right, there you go.
Now, also in the bottom two, or in the bottom three with Alan, were Tyler Nieslony and Brittany Allen. Brittany Allen actually won the first challenge of the competition, but this week she totally fell apart. I was shocked that she sent anything that looked like a finished garment down the runway. It was this crinkly wrapping paper dress that looked like just crinkly wrapping paper. It was not good. I thought that was a worse look than Alan's, but she had won a challenge before, and the judges have really admired her craftsmanship, so I understood why they kept her. It was sort of like a vote of confidence. Like, we're going to say this is a fluke for you, because it's not this is not what you've set down to us in previous weeks. So I appreciate that, but anyone else sends that look down the runway, they're out.
But Tyler's was just a real mess. I mean, the bottom of Alan's was more finished than whatever that choppy thing was. I mean, it was almost a bathing suit, but it didn't,
Yeah, Alan's ribbon bra was a lot more flattering than Tyler's kind of unfinished. And unfinished because he sort of second guessed his look midway through, and he had to lose a lot of material, which I thought was a huge, that made me madder than anything else. Yeah. It's he was worried that it would look too costumey because it'd be like a candy cane. But I'm like,
it's a holiday thing.
Gold and silver stripes don't necessarily speak candy cane to me. And they ended up saying what he said down was costume anyway. So I think, like, there's no doubt in my mind that what he was working on at first would have been better than what he ended up sending down, because it just looked sloppy. It didn't flatter the model. It was too short, so it made her upper half look like just a boxy rectangle. And that's the look I would have sent home easily.
That lace stuff looked old lady to me too, and the outfit itself, was very, I mean, not hugely revealing, but it was way too short and kind of cut off in a weird way. It was even
cut like off in the front in a way that was
and then like some print of something there that was distracting, and that instead of looking at her snowflake lace or whatever it's supposed to be, you're looking right there because you're going, why is that there? That's not doing anything for this dress.
Yeah, and just thinking about what he was working on with those ornaments that would have been decorative to that, silver and gold striped, like it could have been so cool. And he just ripped it up because he was worried about being costumey. And, it's reasonable to be afraid of that since he got that critique.
Right.
But he totally overthought it, thinking it's like, oh, this looks like I've never had a silver and gold candy cane. Like, it doesn't look like a candy cane to me. And it just, even if it's not the judge's favorite, like, he totally threw away a potentially good look to try and think about what wouldn't make the judges mad, instead of thinking what would make them happy, which I just thought, so I would have eliminated that look just because he sort of shot himself in the foot. He did not need to make those mistakes. I didn't dislike the sort of snowflake lace idea. I thought that could have worked on a more flattering look. But yeah, I was just really disappointed in him.
Let's talk about the good things.
The designs that did win, the one winning design was Sergio Guadarrama. It was such a great look just from the silhouette before it came out, because you see like this perfect triangle that just like is so perfectly geometric, and it was like, whoa. And then it comes out and it looks really good. I do think the model she was walking a little slow, trying not to break it. So I don't think it was 100% comfortable, but it was a really great idea. I am annoyed by Sergio's attitude a lot of the time, but I will give him credit for that look. It was a really, really good look. And he didn't do what he did last week, which was take whatever the challenge is and say, no, I'm doing the thing I want. He actually made a dress for a cocktail party that, with jingle bells. That we disagree on this. I was not a fan of the jingle bells. I thought it was a little much, but it worked for the judges. Look, and honestly, I can't fault it.
It was cute. If they were outside that basket, it wouldn't have worked. Inside, it's like a oral, kind of sense thing, and it sounds like Christmas. I think that's fine. It announces your entrance. If you're going to a party, you're not going to sit down in that, so what you got going for you but jingle bells? So I say I thought that was a very smart idea. And how he got that paper, I don't know what, if the paper was stronger than the stuff the other people were trying to work with, but it looked like fabric, and that was incredible. And he did a great job because he doesn't know how to sew. I mean, a lot of times they don't, and this guy knows what he's doing. So, okay, he's kind of braggy, and he loves himself, and
he's gonna get so much worse after winning a challenge.
I know, but Tyler, early on, on the camera alone, he kind of said what you said about his outfit last week, that it was no way urban or anything like that. It was like high-end, whatever dress.
Yeah, it was a ball gown to go to the grocery store. It was ridiculous. Even if it's the most magnificent ball gown you've ever seen, I would have put him in the bottom 3 on principle, just from like how little he even came close to matching that challenge.
Right.
And he wasn't even trying to. It's not like, I was trying to go street and it ended up going a little bit upscale. No, he's like, no, I'm just doing the ball gown.
Yeah.
So I really do think he, and like after he won, he's like, oh, as soon as she went down the runway, I knew I won this challenge. I'm like, dude, stop. There were a couple of moments this week where I was actually liking him, like when he's talking to his boyfriend on the phone and talking about getting presents for Christmas, even though his family couldn't really afford stuff, and then helping Brittany, or offering to help Brittany if he got done early. I'm like, okay, I was thinking the Grinch's heart is going to grow 3 sizes this week. And then he's like, it's like, oh, I knew I was going to win. I was like, oh, boy, man.
Well,
he's making it tough.
But it's balanced by how many people are lacking in confidence, too. So maybe it's not such a bad thing to believe in yourself. Do you have to say it every other minute? No. But
you're not just saying it. It's not just like, I didn't mind when he said when he was getting his critique that I'm good at sewing, like the way he said that, like that was fine. It's only when he's like thinking, oh, I don't really need Christian's help. I'm so like, I'm already at his level. I'm too good to take his advice, or I don't design clothes for the poors. It's that stuff that rubs me the wrong way.
His comeuppance will arrive when he does that again and doesn't follow the directions, because the fewer the people on the show, the more they're going to demand of you to follow the rules and do what they think is needed.
Yeah, there's as soon as there's no longer a cushion,
challenge. Yeah.
As soon as there's no longer a cushion of obviously poor looks, then they're going to be like, okay, that's good, but why did you do that instead of that? Or maybe he'll have like an off week like human beings do, like Brittany did this week, like where it's just a challenge that things aren't working for him and you've only got a day or two to make a garment, and maybe it's not going to work for him. And is he still going to be, that kind of, superior attitude and stuff like that? So he deserved to win. He wasn't my choice as my personal favorite of the challenge, but he was a deserving winner. I just hope he doesn't let it go farther to his head, because he definitely does not need that. Like, he needs to give some of his humility or some of his arrogance to Tyler, who keeps second guessing himself, and Jeffrey, who has second guessed himself, and he needs to borrow a little bit of their humility. So, but the one I thought was best was, and let's see if you agree, because when it came down the runway, I'm like, oh, she's winning the challenge. It was Nancy. Who we only ever heard.
I don't know where she found that fabric.
No, I don't know.
It wasn't like it was even unconventional.
Yeah.
She must have stolen like something from a couch or something there. I don't know, because it was like what, Victoria did as well, because she used the pillows, which people probably didn't think they should use, because I don't think they were there for Christmas, but what the hell, right? You could take it in the rug if you wanted to.
Yeah, and that's what frustrated me the most, because Nancy created a dress and a coat.
Yeah.
And
she had a deal again.
Yeah, and they were both incredibly flattering.
Yes.
They didn't look like unconventional materials. It looked like just regular kind of just fabric. It looked like she went to Mood. And what frustrates me is that because she got so little screen time and she was safe and she didn't get a critique, I have no idea what went into it.
How she did it, yeah.
All we saw of her in the workroom was crushing ornaments with a hammer, and I don't know how that fit into the look. So I thought it was clearly the best look. Maybe it's like you said, she did use some fabric from like pillows or curtains or something like that made it easier for her, but we never learned that. Like, I wanted to see how she made that, because I thought it was absolutely the best look. It was crazy to me that she wasn't in the top 3.
It looked like it wasn't unconventional at all. It was like amazing, but maybe it was too, I don't know, not easy, but it didn't require the imagination of putting cranberries on your shoulders. I don't know.
Or creating 2 giant red poofs with like a cinched waist in the middle.
Well, here's the thing. They have to do what they have to do, and it was, they tried to get away with saying it was flattering, but I don't think it quite was. But he did his best. He did, cinch in her waist so you knew she had a waist and she didn't look like she was wearing a barrel of red. So, and...
Yeah, Shavi's look, we should say.
Yeah, Shavi. But I like Victoria so much. that she's putting on her eyeliner, like that kind of cat eye eyeliner, like she's Elizabeth Taylor in bed. I like a girl like that.
I like Victoria. I feel like she's going to be one of those designers who goes really, like, she'll be big hit or big miss every week. Because she seems a little flustered, both because of the language barrier, because, you know, her English isn't that, like, great. I mean, it's certainly fluent. And, you know, the fact that she keeps going in these kind of, not wild directions. This week was actually not conservative, but it wasn't like, she wasn't going out on a crazy limb with that look. Like, it looked very, and I really love the idea of the cranberries on the sleeves. Although in the workroom, it looked a little bit higher than it did on the runway. It looked like it was drooping a little bit on the runway, which is the only thing that was holding me back from really loving that look.
But she also embellished the pattern of the pillows and put, like, it was like decorated with little shiny things. And I think that was very smart too. She didn't have to do that. And I think that upgraded it into something a little more elegant. Other than the tree branches on your shoulder. I would not wear that. I would tell you that. I don't know if it was comfortable or not, but I guess that doesn't really count if it's not being sold in stores. This isn't one of the challenges, I think, where you can actually buy things.
No, yeah. I will join in the chorus of, speaking of those cranberries, Brittany's look, that disastrous wrapping paper look. She had the cranberries, and I loved how Brandon described them as like an underarm cranberry waterfall. And he hated it, but I'm sort of I was with Nina and Elaine thinking, actually, that part of the look kind of brought it embellished it in a way that it didn't just look like she was mummified by wrapping paper. It looked like something interesting. And I don't know if that would be the most comfortable thing to have cranberries under your armpit, but it's also not the most comfortable thing to be straitjacketed into wrapping paper. Of everything wrong with that look, the cranberries were at least visually interesting, and they had movement, and they had. I liked them.
I think she wanted to do like tons of that, and it just wasn't going to happen. Yeah,
she didn't have time. She wanted to do more of that, the pleating effect that she had on the top, on the bottom. No time for that. She didn't know how to work with the wrapping paper. It kept breaking when she was using it. I felt so bad. Everything was going wrong for her every single step of the way. Literally nothing went right.
But one of the things I like about this season right now is that it's more, like I said, I never liked that Unconventional challenge. They had the first, revival of it on Bravo, but this one I got, and it was much more fun to watch. And I think they're letting Christian, I think they're encouraging him to have more fun. Because if you watch the first couple shows from last season, he was kind of muted. But he seemed to have found himself and his voice. So,
Yeah, he's so much the highlight of the show. I'm not going to say he's better than Tim Gunn, but he's doing something entirely different than what Tim Gunn was doing. Like, Tim Gunn was very, kind of buttoned up and very...
he's a bunk. Also like an uncle or avuncular, as you would say. It's like he was somebody older and wiser, whereas Christian is more of a contemporary of these people.
And he's got a looser personality, so that, like, I wouldn't want Tim Gunn to do the sort of stuff that Christian does, because it would be so out of character for Tim Gunn. But for Christian, being that interactive, being that playful, is just, it's really one of the highlights of the show's return to Bravo. Like, I think Carly Kloss is fine. She's doing as good a job as Heidi Klum did, no better, no worse. But I think Kristen Siriano has really kind of brought the show to life in a way that I really enjoy.
Yeah. I remember the one time they went to the dollar store. I liked that episode too. Remember, they did have fun with that as well, with a lot of plastic things, as I recall.
And next week they're doing Goodwill. So,
well, not next week.
Oh, not next week. The next episode they're doing Goodwill.
January 2nd. God knows what they're going to show instead. But for 90 minutes,
they might replay the episode or play maybe Andy Cohen will just have like a Christmas spectacular or something.
Yeah. But yeah,
I'm worried that Sergio, because Sergio talks about being like, upcycling, and he's all about political fashion, which honestly his looks haven't really
what
been.
is upcycling?
I think it's basically turning, like, sort of like recycling like materials, but like taking them from like lower quality and making them high quality, expensive, that sort of thing, which is the sense I get, and so going to Goodwill, I feel like we're going to get so much of Sergio talking about, his political message of his looks and how, he's going to be, I hope he proves me wrong. He's going to be like this combination of I'm superior to everyone as a designer, and also I'm morally superior to everyone as a designer. So I hope that doesn't happen, but I'm bracing for it.
I'm worried about, it's Delvin, right? This is not Devlin. Okay.
Delvin, yeah, Delvin.
Delvin. He was like insulted by this challenge, it seems.
Yeah.
There he was. He ironed his little coat and everything, and then he didn't like the challenge because it was beneath him. It was just silly.
He said it was art and crafts. I'm like, dude. At least he had humility in the sense that he knew he was. He seemed like he was like holier than thou about it.
Yeah.
But he was at least admitting it's like, I'm struggling with this because I don't know what to do with these materials, instead of I'm struggling with this because I'm better than this. Like, he was actually trying. And he ended up with something that he didn't like, but that was a safe look, and I think it deserved to be a safe look. I think,
No, I was fine.
Actually, fine.
Yeah. But, he might be feeling that way in a icky Goodwill store, looking at old fabric that who knows who has worn before. But at least there'll be material and not a whole lot of paper, I hope. So.
I think there will be blood if we end up with an episode in the future where both Delvin and Sergio are in the bottom, because it's like the two people who are most convinced that they are,
superior.
The great, like, the up and coming couturier versus the guy who does political fashion and thinks he's already at the level of Brandon Maxwell. So I want to see them get negative critiques one week in the same week, because the TV screen will implode. Well, with that, thank you so much for joining me, Susan, and thank you to everyone for watching. We will be back to discuss the next episode in 2020. So Happy New Year as well, and we will see you then.